I'm always asked what is the number one way that we can help save the planet, and my answer is always reducing food waste and keeping food scraps out of landfills. Did you know that 24% of waste that's actually sent to landfills is food? In 2024 alone, over 1 billion tons of food waste ended up in landfills. And households like ours and probably yours contributed to 60% of that food waste. That's a huge amount of food that's going to landfills, and it's creating methane gas, which is harming the planet. Hi, I'm Maria. I share a lot of content on sustainability and conscious consumerism. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and let me know in the comments what you're currently doing with your food waste. I'm just kind of curious where everyone is at on their journey. Now, there are lots of different ways to stop your food scraps from going to a landfill, but not every way is accessible or practical for everyone. For example, here in Buffalo, which is in New York, we have composting red wiggler worms, and they are great, but they only really eat food scraps from April through October. During the winter, they eat maybe half a cup of food waste during the week. So during the colder months, I either use a ton of freezer space just to freeze food scraps, or I have to drive all the way downtown to drop off food scraps, or sometimes I end up tossing them in the trash where they end up making its way to the landfill. If you live in an apartment too, you also don't have yard space to compost your scraps outside, so you end up needing to use indoor options, and not all of them are accessible or practical for everyone. Food scraps in landfills do break down eventually, but the process is a lot different than traditional composting, and it can take decades instead of days. The trash in landfills is just packed so tightly. The food scraps are forced to try to decompose without oxygen. So because it's an anaerobic environment, bacteria eventually does break down the food scraps, but it produces methane, which is a potent greenhouse gas that is 25 times more potent than carbon dioxide. So that's where milk comes in. It is my solution to this problem. It is honestly the easiest and the cleanest way that I found to prevent food from going to landfills. Unlike worm bins, mill is clean. There are no smells, no insects constantly flying around the bin, no outdoor critters trying to dig into it, and I don't have to make sure that moisture levels are perfect by adding a bunch of carbon, and no need for the every single day maintenance that comes with traditional composting methods. I'm so excited to share mill with you today. I received mill as a gift, and they are the sponsor of today's video. I do have an affiliate link in the description if this is of any interest to you. So if you want to get $75 off of your mill, click the link in the video description. I've been using mill for a few weeks now. Let's see how it started. Okay, this is kind of heavy. Oh, okay, that was easy. Filters for the mill are made of upcycled coconut shells and block 99.9% of odors and last an entire year, unlike other systems which typically require bi-monthly maintenance. Sometimes when products have apps, I'm like, do I really need another app on my phone? But I think the app that goes with the bin is genius, especially the library section where I can search for what I want to put in the bin and see if it can actually go in, and more specifically, what parts of the food can actually go in. My favorite though is when you click on the foods like lettuce and it shares the recommended storage methods to make food last as long as possible, which is awesome. I'm just putting together a quick salad for lunch today. I've added all of the food scraps from this into mill, and I've also added what was in our compost bin in the fridge. This is what it looked like when we went to bed, and this is what it looks like in the morning. Mill has a 6.5 liter capacity, and it can process 40 pounds of food scraps, which is huge. I know aesthetics should not be important with sustainability, but this is honestly a work of art, and it does look really nice in the kitchen. If I'm being completely honest, I did not expect to love this as much as I do. I don't know how I lived without this in the kitchen before. I have several things with mill that I want to talk about, but first, wow, this is a million times easier than any other method that I've tried for taking care of food scraps. I previously thought my worm bin was really easy, but mill officially gets that title now. Mill advertises itself as odorless, fully automated, and easy to use, and it truly is. I expected to smell something overnight like I have with previous systems. I smell nothing. I'm also really surprised about the noise level. Other systems can be quite loud, but mill was quieter than our dishwasher, and our ice machine is way louder. It also starts up on its own, so I don't even have to think about it. It actually has smart sensors inside that tells Mill when to run and how long to run for based on how wet the food scraps are. And if you decide to run at midday, you can even add scraps mid-cycle. You can also automatically run it overnight like we do. Or if you have small kids that you don't want their fingers in the warm bin, you can lock it so it locks when it starts and unlocks when the bin's cool. The capacity of this is huge. It takes weeks to fill before it needs to be emptied, which means I'm no longer storing food scraps in the freezer or driving downtown every other week, taking a regular chore off my to-do list. And having Mill right in the kitchen is an easy way to be sustainable with minimal effort, which is great. And it's really close to our trash can in the kitchen. It was very easily integrated into our home. It's easy to put food scraps in there instead of the trash. Also, when we have guests over, I'm gonna put a little sign on the lid that just says food scraps here, which is 10 times easier than explaining to every single person there why we put our food scraps in a bin in our fridge or freezer. I used to have a different system that claimed to compost or make dirt out of the food scraps that you would put in there. Mill does not claim to do that. And it doesn't claim to make compost like other companies because machines don't make compost. Nature does. And that is so true. What comes out of Mill is not compost, but it's a head start. Mill turns food into fine grounds that break down quickly outside. You can mix the food grounds directly into your garden soil. If you have chickens, first, just know that I'm jealous of you. I can't have chickens here. But second, you can mix the food scraps in with chicken feed or give it to them as treats or a snack. Say you don't have chickens, no garden, you're in an apartment, no curbside organics bin. You can do optional pickups through the Mill app. Empty your grounds into the prepaid box and liner and just schedule a pickup right through the app. USPS picks up the box and takes it to Mill's feed manufacturing facility where they are turning it into nutritious food for chickens. Once the box is received and inspected, you also get a personalized report so you can see your impact, and then the feed just goes to a local farm. Incredible. I know the comments are coming if they're not already there. Is it actually sustainable even if it uses electricity? Mill only uses 0.7 kilowatts of electricity per day, which if you take the average cost of electricity, it's only about $4 a month. Now, if you run a dishwasher, the average is about 1.8 kilowatt hours per cycle. So it uses such a minimal amount of electricity compared to standard appliances. It grinds food scraps as efficiently as possible with short cycles. Some systems out there run 24-hour cycles. This one, the longest it's ever run for me, is about 5 hours. The other comment I expect to get is the sticker shock with the price. To buy the machine, it is $999, or you can rent it for 1 year for $420. It is expensive, but you can buy, you can rent, or you can finance the machine. There is a 3-year warranty and a 90-day money-back guarantee, risk-free trial if you buy it, or if you rent it, there's a 30-day trial and it's always covered under warranty. And like I said earlier in the video, if you want to get $75 off of your Mill, click it in the video description. It is definitely safe to say that I love this, and I do think it will be in my kitchen forever. It is really easy to use. It's helping me prevent waste and keep food out of the landfills, but it's also really easy. And it's one way that I can individually make an impact. Small habits over time make a huge impact. And you can see through the Mill app the impact that you're actually having. I can't wait to watch this number grow through the app as I continue to use the bin. Let me know what questions you have on Mill, and let me know how often you'd like to see updates on the bin. Huge thank you once again to Mill for sponsoring today's video. I have an affiliate link in the description once again. If you've made it this far, you would probably like some of my other content, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And like this video if you enjoyed it, and let me know what you think. Let me know if you're gonna try Mill. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Happy reducing food waste, and see you next time.